Representative Frank out of Brunswick County. Thank you, Director Walker, for being here. I finally heard the word transportation near the end. On your reserve page, I don't have page numbers. On the reserves page, we've been interested in a reserve to replace destroyed highways like in New Hanover the last few years and in counties like that during hurricanes or even in the mountains. Sometimes when the roads crumble due to landslides. So we talking about a reserve in the transportation funds. So is that something that you looked at? I see reserves here, but that's besides the response and disaster relief, we're thinking about reserve for transportation also, not just general fund. Is that something you looked at?
Yes. So when we looked at transportation, we know that that has been, so the reserves you see listed there are just in the general fund. It's not in the highway fund or the highway trust fund. We did look at those needs. And I think if you look in your book, we have all of that laid out for transportation. We have a section on transportation about what has gone in there. But as to a specific reserve just for disasters, there's nothing new in the governor's budget for transportation.
I don't think I got my book before the meeting started, but thank you. I will take a good look at that. Also, the 2%, I'm very concerned about that. I think inflation has favored the general fund a lot more than it has I know the gas tax clicked up about 2 cents during this period, but the general fund is benefited from inflation in everything else. So very concerned about that. And I think that'll be coming up as part of the discussions later on. So thank you.
Comment. Any other questions, comments on the presentation? Got one? Okay, Representative Barker.
Director Walker, thank you again. I was unclear, piggyback on Senator Woodard's question, the additional revenues in transportation are coming from where? What was your proposal?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So there's the Clean Transportation Plan is out from the Department of Transportation. So that's out there right now for feedback. The governor's budget contains a provision to look at what are the sources of revenue for the highway fund and the highway trust fund going into the future. So we know that's not the gas tax. Everyone knows that. So what is that? Does it mean miles traveled? What does that mean? But to take a holistic look at that, get input and put forward a plan of what transportation funding in the future might look like. But no one proposed answers, wanting to work with lawmakers and transportation as well to develop a more comprehensive plan to look at stable funding sources for them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Zach Hawkins, House District 31, Durham County. First, I'd like to thank you, Director Walker, for your presentation. And one thing that I noticed before I get into my questions is I appreciate the governor maintaining the corporate tax rate at 2.5%. RTP is the highest concentration and largest job producer in the state, and the ability for those companies to continue to support North Carolina in their way, as well as making sure, and none of them have asked for anything lower. I really appreciate the governor keeping that in place. My question is around the medical examiner's office. You talked about ensuring that there are resources for medical examiner's offices across the state. But my question is around the state office. What are we doing to make sure that office is properly staffed? What are we doing to make sure that there's a time? A lot of funeral directors talk about the time that it takes to get a death certificate. And are we including them in electronic signatures?
Thank you for that. Yes, all state our proposal is anywhere in the general statutes that requires a wet signature get replaced. So that part's easy. I'm going to look in my budget book and try to find where we have the medical examiners. I don't know if anyone has brought that up. I know that we do have items, so we can follow up with you, but I know there's some funding in here that addresses some of those concerns. So,
Thank you.
okay. Oh, and I've been told it's on 166. So if you have a budget book, and if not, hopefully you all got a budget book. They all went into your office, into your mailboxes. But yes, so for vital records, there's $2.5 million to modernize vital records. There's also funding for equitable access so that we would not charge a fee to access your vital records. And then there's support for the regional autopsy centers. And that's the fee I was talking about that the state actually pays to those local offices. And it would bring that fee up more in line with the actual cost of those services.
Senator Julie Mayfield over here. Thank you. I appreciate the governor's proposed investment in mental health care. I think you said that we can all agree that that's a crisis, and I think that's true. What I didn't see, or maybe I missed it, was investment in mental health care in our jails and prisons. Did I miss it, or what's there? Thank you.
Yes, Senator Mayfield, there is part of that $1 billion that's going into the I Hope Fund would go towards justice involved programs. And there is also funding around that within our prisons, and we can follow up and get you those specific items.
In the very back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for your presentation, Donnie Loftus, Appropriations. I'm looking at the raise from $65 to $70 per hour for Public Defender's Office. I know also I've been really focused on adoptions and foster care. A lot of those attorneys will not take these foster care cases through the total time because of the reimbursement rate is still $65, and this may take 18 to 24 months before it's adjudicated. Is there provisions to raise that also to incentivize more attorneys participating in this to speed the adoption foster care process along? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let me be sure to get you the right answer. So the private assigned counsel rate does go up to 70. I know as well that the guardian ad litem rate goes up to $70 an hour, but we'll have to get back with you to confirm for certain what the child care.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments?
Just to add my appreciation for you being here. Y'all done an incredible amount of work. We look forward to working with you over the next several weeks and months. Just for those who are wondering about your books, we did not get a book. They may be in the mailboxes, but we'll try to track those down and make sure that everybody's got a book today, figure out where they are. Because I know you referenced that a couple times. We did not get a book delivered to our office that I'm aware of. So.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, again, thank you to the governor's office at OSBM for developing and putting forward this proposal. We'll begin the actual work of doing a real budget now. This will come again. So having nothing else on the agenda, this meeting stands adjourned.